Hey everybody, thanks for joining the podcast. We got a good episode for you here. This time I had Angel back. He has risen from the depths of hell. We sat down, talked about a lot of fun stuff. Really cool. We talked about my mental approach to really tough situations and how that developed again through the Landmark because of course this podcast is sponsored by the Landmark Forum, but also through my mental approach. Even before I ever did the Landmark, how after I got sentenced to prison, my mental approach leading up to that point and how I kind of secluded myself from dealing with the truth and then how I dealt with it and all that stuff. We talked about that crazy Bernie staffer. I didn't even get to pull up the video. We just got so distracted. A lot of times I get off on these tangents and then I just even forget where I'm going. I'm trying to get better with that. But that's why we keep making these episodes. Keep bringing you the funk. And, if you're listening now and then we're doing this again in a year and the difference of what could happen, just even a month, just how you get better at things in a month. So consistency is going to be the key. So I'm happy to bring out another episode. Keep these coming for you. I'm going to record a few episodes. This is the first episode of the weekend. This is Saturday. I'm going to record another one tonight. Hopefully I can get a guest. I'm just waiting to the last minute, which isn't good. Hopefully I can start scheduling guests and that way I can start promoting and doing all that stuff. But hey, little by little, I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself with this. Right now I'm focused on making these recordings, improving the quality of the sound, which I think I have. And now I want to distribute on YouTube, and eventually we'll add video. Maybe I was even thinking of doing a live stream, some solo live stream podcast where I'll start the podcast and get people in the chat, maybe do some talking. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Because that's separate audio and how I mix all that stuff in. I've gotten pretty far so far with this laptop and 2 USB mics and getting that all worked out. I'm pretty proud of that. And that's it. It's been a rough week for me, and it was also a rough week for Angel. And it's a rough time of year for everybody. We talked about that too. That's also something we talked about, how this is just a rough time of year and how dealing with and how to deal with it. That's how we got to mentally approaching situations and things like that, because it's all about perspective, and we'll go into that. And I hope you enjoy the conversation. And I'm going to plug some dates here for you just in case you're interested. Coming up here, I have a terrible calendar. Let's see here. All right, guys, I don't have no dates for you. I should have been more prepared. I'm gonna cut this all out and not even mention dates. I'm not even going to cut it out. We'll just leave it in here just to show you how retarded I am. All right. And I use that word with the most respect for myself because that's what I was addressing. So if you're offended by that, leave me alone. Okay. Just leave me alone. I want to keep the R word. I just want to keep saying retarded. I'm not talking about your damn child. I'm not talking about your brother, your sister, your mother, or whatever their mental grip is. All right. I'm just talking about how stupid some things can be. That's it. All right. Spending too much time, guys, just rambling. I do this a lot. I just want to bring you the best stuff, and I want to think of some cool things to say, and I'm just not doing it right now. So I'm going to start the podcast. I hope you enjoy this conversation with Angel, and we're going to have some more episodes for you, and I hope you have a fantastic day. All right. If you want to talk about anything or if any, please hit me up. Feedback, always welcome. This is a community. I want to have this conversation and, not with just me and my guests, but whoever, if this sparks anything in your mind, then you need to hit me up. VicIsFunny.com. You can contact me through there. You can email me, VicIsFunny.com, spelled out DOTCOM at the end, @gmail.com. And, we can have that conversation and keep in touch. All right. I really appreciate you listening, and I hope you enjoy this podcast.
You are listening to the B-Cast.
Into the mic. Talk into the mic. Yeah, right. Does yours now?
Is it loud enough? Is that good?
Oh, you're fucking loud enough.
Okay.
You're absolutely loud enough. I don't even like the headphones, because the headphones, the feedback was coming in and it would make me sound like super slow. Like slow motion. Whoa, I don't know why I sound. And then I sound like my voice comes in.
So you hearing a delay? Is that what it is?
It just would. I don't know. Now I don't
Distorted.
hear anything. No, I don't. I hear nothing's coming out of the headphones, but it sounds like it's recording. So I'm gonna run with it.
Okay.
Hopefully, it's picking up waves. So, What's up, Angel? How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
No, not really. But yeah, good.
Not really. I had a rough week too. Is it the time of year? I don't think so. I don't think it has anything to do with the time of year. I think
Sure
just
it
life
does.
happens.
No, it does, because we're coming off that. It's like a hangover off of the holidays. Like everybody gets together, and for some people, like if you don't see your family that often and you enjoy them, you actually enjoy them. It's like this brief moment where everybody gets together and you feel good. And then the new year starts and it's like people put pressure on themselves for resolutions. And if you fail at your resolutions, or you sometimes just going back to real life, like you'll see you start noticing again why your life sucks. And there's the cold weather, there's less lighting, there's less light, so all that stuff, the seasonal depression thing is well known.
I think I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
Is this your scientific conclusion?
No, I mean, it's just...
I know, you said it's well known.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense with triggering, emotional responses, right? I think that makes sense. I had a rough week. I don't want to talk about it, because I'm on the other end of it now. So I don't want to... Plus, there's some things that I don't want to make public, right? There's some things that you do keep personal.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So that you keep to yourself and you deal with it. I told one person, I had one day I had that breakdown. I had that one person that hashed everything out, and there's no solution sometimes to problems, right? That make you depressed and that really hurt you, right? But there's comfort, and there's companionship, there's family, camaraderie, like that personal bond, where even if you aren't addressing the problem or you're solving the problem, you're coping with the problem. It helps you cope. Sometimes all you need to do is cope to get through stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't need to solve problems. Sometimes you just need to get
That's interesting.
through it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because there's not an immediate solution. There is no...
Is that...
The solution's long term.
Is it accepting it is what it is, right? Acceptance?
No. There's confronting it. Because a lot of problems are... They stick around because you don't address them. You don't confront them. Well, for me, right? I don't confront certain situations, and they'll linger, right? And then when they linger, you continue to emotionally go through something with it,
You never get over it.
Right? The emotional part of it, since you don't address it, it's like a weight on your shoulder, right? So you're walking around with this weight and it's dragging on you and it's affecting other things you're doing, right? And it's affecting other things that you're going through. So you just drag this stuff into all your other, relationships, and it makes you perform negatively in other aspects, right? Then you're not focused, you're distracted because you have this lingering problem. So once you like address it, even if you don't resolve it, you bring things to light, and I don't know, then you're on that path. You let go of that weight, and
I think you transform it into something else. Like, all right, there's energy here, but I'm using it negative, right?
You're carrying it. Yeah, you're carrying a negative energy instead of, right? Because it's all about perspective. So if you look at something like it's negative, you're going to have a negative reaction to it, right? But if you look at something, even problems, if you look at problems as opportunities, you're going to perform differently. You're going to attack something differently. Your perspective is going to be different, and your attitude is going to be different, right? If you look at problems as problems and things that are weighing on you and things that are done to you, or they're, if you're looking at everything with a negative response, you're going to perform negatively. Your attitude's going to be negative. Your response is going to be negative. You know what I mean? So it's that perspective of your problem, rather than not addressing it and it being a negative thing in your life. You can address it and it still be a negative thing in your life, but your reaction to it is positive because you're now trying to fix the problem, right? You address that problem rather than, dodge it. You feel like a coward. You're hiding.
Yeah.
You have all those negative reactions to it.
It's terrible.
Yeah, you drag that shit around with you.
Yeah, it's no good. You gotta listen to that.
It's no good, man. It's no good. You delete it. Did you listen to the last episode? Did you listen to the Fallen Angel episode?
I haven't.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, because that was like one of the things that I was talking about. The whole point of the episode was that I never heard back from you, right? So it was on me to assume you can do something. I could assume a negative response and put a negative reaction to that situation. All right, Angel didn't respond. He didn't show up. He didn't want to do the podcast today. He doesn't want to do the podcast. Like, he's over it. He's got other, you know what I mean? Like, I could have made up a whole bunch of problems, and I never even asked you, right? I never asked you because it was like, if you needed to tell me. But you did tell me. You volunteered the information to me, like, because that's how I feel it should be. Like, our relationship isn't negative, and I don't need to turn it negative by making negative responses out of nothing. You know what I'm saying? And like, I started talking about like the landmark and that freaking thing I went to. Like, I think I talked to you about that seminar that I went to.
Oh yeah, that they would.
That did those freaking brain exercises on you that made you like bring up all these instances in your life where you made these decisions that you play out the rest of your life. And you play them out in situations, including making stories in your head for confrontations that they aren't real. And then you bring them into the relationship later, and the person's like, yo, you're arguing, you're talking to me like if we've been arguing. They don't know that, but that's how you're talking to them. Like, you've been arguing with them since when you were in the shower. They don't know you were arguing with them in the shower. Like, you're playing out these conversations in your head with them, and then you think those things are real because that's your history. You bring your history of past conversations into this new conversation. You don't view it as a new conversation. You don't view it as a new situation. You're bringing all the history of past conversations and decisions you made when you were a little kid based on like a traumatic event that you foresee as a traumatic event. I use the example of my mother taking me to buy school clothes, and me wanting Boss jeans. And remember Boss
popular.
jeans, Carl Kanai with the plates, all that shit.
With the plates, yeah.
Tommy Hilfiger. Like, you know, my friends were wearing that stuff. I lived in a Hasbrook Heights in a suburban town, right? So the people there could afford it. And I didn't know about money. Like, I was still very naive, very, I guess naive is like the most way to say it. I was like naive, and I wasn't innocent, but like there was an innocence of that thought process when it came to money. And then that was like the first time I realized I didn't have what everybody else had. And it made me feel like I was less than. So I made a decision that right there that I was just less than everybody else because I can't have the same nice things. You know, like I'm not worth it. So then that's how I proceeded. Like for the rest of my life, I would make decisions based on the decision I already made that I'm not worth these things. So when it was something that I wanted to attain, like a goal or something that I wanted, like an idea for myself, I couldn't follow through. I wouldn't, because I'd be like, for what? I'm not worth it. I'd already made that decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
I find excuses why I can't do it or why it shouldn't be done. I justify things. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah. Did you see recently the Joey Diaz episode where he talked about like the year end? I think he did like a year end or the year start, where he read the that book by Stephen Pressfield, the War of Art. Yeah, you read that book, right?
No.
Oh man, you got to read that book.
I know a bit about it.
Resistance and stuff. I think I have it here somewhere. I think my sister-in-law borrowed it. It's somewhere around here. My wife might have it. I want to read that again. Okay. But that's about the resistance in your head, like the things that you make up yourself on why you don't do things, and like how you, like, it's basically just to pacify yourself, you know, and it's like almost like coddling yourself, and you make up these reasons why you can't do stuff, like, you know, where you, like, let's say like if you're working out at the gym, like you like make up pains, or pains feel worse, and you will right away will use that as an excuse. Oh, I shouldn't do anything because of that. Like, instead of trying to work through it maybe a little more, you know?
It's crazy.
Yeah, bro.
This morning I woke up and I had vertigo.
Vertigo?
Yeah.
From what?
Well, I think it's like an injury that I had a while back.
From getting hit from hitting that bike?
No. You know how it happened? It was one morning and I was trying to hook up with my wife, and I went and pulled the covers off of her, and she must have been in the middle of a nightmare because she threw a kick out. Oof. And it hit me right in the jaw.
Oh, she cleaned your fucking clock.
No, it stunned me. Yeah. Like, I felt like the whole knees, like the weird knee thing. And in the moment, I felt like, I guess the adrenaline, I was fine. But that night was the very first night that I had vertigo. And it's like a weird thing.
What does vertigo feel like?
You ever spin around in a circle? Like when you were a kid, just for whatever?
I've had a kid. I've done that recently.
For like a minute. Just last week.
She likes that. She makes me want to do it to her. And then I'm like, but you don't understand that this has the same effect on me, and I don't like it.
and then so you stop, and then you, like, there's that weird thing where your eyes, where it's like your eyes are anticipating. It's like your body is telling you you're moving, but your eyes are saying you're not. And so your eyes keep like doing this, like a flickering in the direction where your body thinks that it is, or in the direction that your body thinks that it's moving. So when I get it and I'm anticipating it, like today, like I know if I go like this, like see right there, I got it right away. And it's I'll explain what it is, what the cause is, but I'll stick to the feeling. When I'm not aware of it, so like this morning, very first thing in the morning when I woke up, I sat up in bed like how I normally do, and I felt like I was just free fall. And so like you do that panic thing with your hands, you're like reaching out, like trying to find something, but you know, you find stuff. And then I was like, okay, so I'm still in bed. I'm not actually falling, but my eyes were doing this weird thing. It was from diagonal up to diagonal down. Now, I'll explain what it is. It's all bro science and self-diagnosis. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Oh, my God.
But this is what I think happened. Because it seems the most likely thing. Because whenever you can get an injury in your ear canal, there's like these little bones in there that detect the where that whatever they help you detect your position in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And they have all that like a degree of weight in what it matters to when it comes to balance and balancing your body.
Mm-hmm.
So if you break one of those bones or you dislodge them, there's like these crystals. There's this bony matrix. This sounds like a
bony matrix.
There's a bony maze, and inside the bony
in
maze,
your ear,
there's these crystals
inside your ear.
In your ear.
Okay.
And when these crystals get dislodged, they cause vertigo. And you can get them dislodged by injury to your jaw or to your head. So it made the most sense because, I had that injury, then I laid down. Since then, I get it periodically. And this morning was one of those instances.
That's what you got?
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
I know.
I don't know why did you even leave the house?
You gotta power through shit sometimes. And, maybe I had like a bad week or I had a bad day, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna have a bad life, bro.
But you just got kicked in the head. How long ago was this?
Oh, that was 2 years ago?
2 years ago. You've never seen a doctor for this?
No, I've seen a doctor for it.
What happened?
He referred me to somebody else, and then I never followed up.
So you never saw a doctor?
I never saw a doctor.
So you never saw a doctor for it.
Okay.
And you're walking around with this untreated vertigo.
Yeah.
That could just derail you.
It's not every day.
It could possibly kill you.
I treated it.
Okay.
And it worked for a long time.
How did you treat this? And where did you get this treatment from?
It's more bro science. But it worked. This one actually worked.
Okay.
So what you do is you do these exercises. And you look like... When I was doing them, I felt like rather like effeminate because of the positions that you got to put your body in. And basically, you got to get like doggy style position.
It's like yoga?
And then, sort of. And then like you put your head down and you got to put it up real fast. And that's going to trigger the vertigo.
Uh-huh.
But the trick is, here's the thing. I still have it. I walk around with it. It's just that I know how to deal with it because of these exercises. Laying off of a bed with your head hanging off of it. And then turning your head to the side. And then really quickly bringing it up. See, like that right there? That's fucked up. I
think you use this to get high.
Maybe.
Like that's what you like. That spinning feeling. Like that kid that likes that spinning feeling and keeps doing it till he throws up. Like and you look at him, you're like, yo, you're a little junkie. Like those kids you see, those are junkies, bro.
So, I mean, part of it is, nowadays you could do a little bit of research online and some of it, like, if you're getting a lot of feedback, like the same thing over and over again, if you can really point it down to like a journal, like a respectable journal, you can trust it a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked at what are the treatments for this? Like, what am I looking at? Like, what are they going to do? Is it going to be like surgery? Because that's the first thing I thought. Like, you're going to have to cut in there. If that's what it is, do you have to cut in there and like put the stones back? I don't know. How does that work?
Man, you know what? I think this is where modern medicine should go towards. More of I think my doctor offers it like an e-service where you could diagnose and do a lot of things like via Skype or something, you just Skype with a doctor real quick and he'd like and
what do you want? And you send him a text message, he looks at it like, doctor, my balls itch.
Yeah.
It's probably fungus. Don't worry.
There's text services too. But I think more of the doctor services can go to like
It can expand. It's like they're
I
trying
saw-
to get in there and the uncomfortable ones that people don't want to talk about.
Well, no, I saw in I think it's in Utah. Out there in Utah, there's like there was a couple of doctors, and they started like a network where you just pay like this monthly fee, and they just take care of all your stuff. So instead of like the money you pay to insurance, you pay with them, and you get all your treatment, like all that stuff for free. You get like a whole package of doctor shit for free, and then the stuff that you do need to pay for, they have their own network of people that they deal with that give you a better price.
Okay.
Rather than you know what I'm saying? So you save money by paying less than what you would pay in insurance, and then you have like hospital. He has like things with hospitals and things with other not experts. What are they called when you like are specifying something? Specialist. Thank you.
No, that's cool.
Right? Just a fucking simple word. Like they have specialists that they have their little network set up with, and they created this whole network up there for their community, so that the people in their community don't have to worry about high insurance costs and things like that. They can just pay them, and they take care of all your shit. Like you can go, they have like a clinic and shit like that.
So have they measured that? Like, what's the real impact? What are the savings?
You know what? I just saw the initial story of when they were like, "Hey, this is our idea of what we're doing," and I was like, "But that makes
this is like a great idea."
Well, because that's always been my gripe with the way people approach politics and government and all that stuff. Everybody has this conversation of what's happening on the federal level, what's happening in California, like what's happening in all these other places. And this is why the Electoral College was important, was because everybody's idea is focused on how these certain places are acting, and nobody cares about how all these little people are affected by the things that they do on this mass scale. Like that's why local politics is so much more important in your life than the federal. And like nobody has the same energy. Like not enough people have the same energy that they do. Like all the people you see online that only just complain about Trump all day long. Like if you had the same energy into your local things and like the things that were happening in your local area, rather than everything be done by the threat of violence of the state and government, like how about more local programs and more community things that people help out? You know what I mean? Like nobody like all these problems they make up on a federal level just so that they can make laws to have more control over you and have them be more important. Like they make themselves more grandiose. They keep bloating this thing and they keep having a bigger role, rather than if we shrink everything and they can have a less role, they can have term limits, and they can not be career politicians and just do this for a little while and go back to fucking work,
right,
like the way it was intended to be.
Right.
Then it would be less corrupt. You know what I'm saying?
Because you wouldn't have somebody that's in there for life.
You're just in there for life, for control, for fucking aggression. Like you put your will on people. Like a lot of those people are suspect, especially like the communist people and the people that promote communism and socialism. Like I see, like there's a video, I don't know if you saw it, like the undercover video of a Bernie staffer.
Right.
Right, there's a video of a Bernie staffer. And
pull that one up first.
Let's pull that up. I have an extra screen now, so Angel can participate in conversations. And see, but don't turn it so I can't see it though.
Oh, okay.
We both have to see it.
Okay, I see.
You have to share too. All right, so there's this video of Bernie staffer socialist. Like this guy goes off like literally saying like the gulags weren't that bad. Like in Russia, like that's what they had to do because some people aren't gonna get it, and like you either get it or you get forced it. Like that's
God! Like we have people here that are justifying like what happened over there.
Yeah, so this like what Stalin did with the gulags, like how he had to
right. They start justifying it, saying like, if you could save 100 people.
Look at that. What's that right there? What's that say?
New video leak reveals the socialist nightmare waiting for us if Bernie becomes president.
This is so this is so like anti, like there's a really big anti-socialism movement, and it's justified, I guess.
I think it's justified partially because, I mean,
This doesn't even come up.
what's the evidence out there whenever we've seen socialism?
Well, it's never really been implemented correctly, okay? It's never been, they've never really done real socialism, okay? Ever hear that defense of it?
Yeah.
All right. Your response was underwhelming.
Well, it's only because I know that that's bullshit, though. But I wasn't sure if that's what you believe.
No, I want,
so I didn't want to get confrontational with you. I'm like in the middle of a podcast.
You have to. That's the point. Yes, get confrontational. Like, no, are you fucking stupid? Are you fucking dumb? What are you talking about?
It just doesn't work though. That's what I keep seeing.
Well, maybe I can't find this video.
And not only that, it doesn't work, but it brings out the worst in people, man.
Yeah, dude, you can't. People. All right, let's talk about the biggest religion in the world. Right? What's the biggest religion in the world? Is it?
It's Catholicism, I think. Nominally,
I think.
It's getting close
Let's
to Islam.
say
It's almost 50-50.
Let's say
Yeah.
it's Catholicism for the sake of argument. I don't know. I
Among
don't care either way.
Christians, Catholicism is the biggest one.
Right? I think it's
Christianity.
Christianity, right? What the fuck was the point I was even going to make? What were we talking about?
Religion,
control,
Bernie, socialism.
So, all right, let's
The
look at
gulags aren't that bad.
the gulags aren't that bad. Yeah, I was going to make a point about control, maybe, with religion.
What's the world's biggest religion? Getting confrontational.
Bro, I lost that point. That point literally escaped me. Like, it was like, it's not good. It's not a good point. Don't say it. And it just disappeared. Like, maybe that was my body's inherent reaction to saying something stupid. Like, don't say something stupid that doesn't make any sense. Maybe I was going to not make a complete sense at all. And I was just going to say something beyond dumb. And my body's initial reaction is like, no, don't say it, eject. And it has like a little eject button. Some guy hits the fucking button, and that idea just goes, gets fucking shuttled out of my body. I think that's what happened, bro.
What do you call those back in the day? Like pipe dreams or something, right? It's like, boom, ejected out the pipe.
Here we go. Defends gulags, bro. Sanders campaign staffer defends gulags.
Wait a second.
Church militant. I don't know what kind of
I don't know if
fucking.
you want to watch this video.
No, but I don't know what kind of site that is.
Sometimes,
The Blaze. The Blaze, is the Blaze reputable? I don't think so.
No, that's like
all of these sites are like these Q
Russian
sites. What do you think about that Q shit?
What's the Q?
Washington Times. Here we go.
What's the Q?
I just want to see that it's like, I don't see. Here's the thing, because then you say like fake news. I only say this because these people are held to a standard where I think they can't really report things like this if
it's not true.
Like,
but
if there's
it
no
happens all the
evidence,
time,
right?
Like New York Times has been guilty of it a couple times.
It's so fucking convoluted.
Fuck, man, because it gets complicated and you can't know what to trust, man.
Sanders camp mum on pro-Gulag staffer says Lowens don't
Iowans.
care about political gossip.
Iowans from Iowa.
Oh, Iowans. Lowens.
See, why did they
Bro.
make the capital
Iowans,
and the
bro.
lowercase L
That's
so similar?
hilarious.
Whoever came up with that is an idiot.
That's hilarious. Lowens. Hey, nobody cares about the Lowens. The Lowens one.
You know the Lowens don't care about political
No
gossip.
one cares.
Gulags.
Yeah, gulag. So
The
this
Lowens
guy
don't care about the gulags.
in this video.
Wait, so gulags are those? Stop me if I'm wrong here. It's like a prison where they would sit, like a political prison, where the Russians, particularly under Stalin, it was like a prison network where he would move people around. Like, what are you, like? You don't like me? You talk shit about me? I'm gonna put you in jail for like 10 years. Where they sent Dostoevsky. Okay, so
all those guys,
yeah,
all those skis. Okay, my daughter flipping out fighting with my wife. The mic won't pick it up, but
it's distracting nonetheless.
yeah, you
Take a
just hear
second.
them fight. No, I don't get involved, bro. That's their business.
Yeah, okay.
I let them fight it out.
Right.
Until my daughter, well, when I'm there, I try to prevent her from being disrespectful, because then she'll just start. She likes to. It's so hard because the way I was brought up, like there were certain things that were just inexcusable. Like there were just certain behaviors.
Yeah,
like interrupting people.
Man, like you would get your ass whooped.
You get the look. A lot of times I didn't have to get my ass whooped because the threat was already there.
Right.
And the threat was
You
real. I
because
grew up with it. My whole life I grew up, and the way you'll see me act, being the baby, the last of 4 children, I've already seen, and I've already seen what everybody else went through, and the stories have been passed down. So I don't need to go, like I'm very good at learning from other people. Like that was a trait I picked up from as a little kid, is learning from other people. Because in learning from other people, I see what happens and then I don't do it. Like a lot of people I see, I'm like, bro, but you saw what, how do you do that? If you know what happens, like, I don't understand how people make decisions like that. Like they just don't care, I guess. I don't know.
I think the heart and the mind don't talk.
I don't know what it is.
I
don't know what the reaction is.
Yeah, on emotion.
But I've always been like that. I don't make reaction. Like I learn from other people. So I don't even know what the fucking point was. I'm just losing points, bro. Maybe it's not they're bad points. Maybe my brain is just hitting eject on anything that I want to think about. I don't even know what the point of what we were talking about.
We were talking about gulags. I said Dostoevsky. You said all the skis.
Oh, skis, guys.
Then your daughter, and then you said you don't interrupt.
Oh, yes. I was learning from other people. That's why I didn't get beat a lot, because the threats were enough.
Like you saw your happen to your siblings. So.
I did not need to.
You don't want any.
I didn't want no smoke, bro. I didn't want no smoke from my mom. So I knew how far to push my mom.
Makes sense.
But you know what? There were other things that I did. I made other mistakes. Like I would just make my own mistakes. But there were other things I saw where I just didn't like. That's why the look was so impactful as a little kid. But then I got bigger than my mom. That's the problem. Then the threat wasn't that.
Do you feel like that's different now?
What do you mean?
For kids growing up now.
Yes, because the threat doesn't mean anything, because it's a different time, and that's why all of my first jokes as a comedian were about like that dynamic. Like, I don't know how to parent because that's how I got parent. Like I can't do that to the kid. So I just threaten her as much as I can and make her scared of me. Just so that she thinks I'm going to hit her, but I can't hit her. Like, she's a little girl. Like, how can I hit her? Like, I can't give her the same discipline that I would have gotten, because the threat was real to me. She doesn't know about the threat. She doesn't have any experience. So I just threaten her and hope she doesn't call me on it. Like, I've been telling her I've been going to kick her down the stairs since she's 1, right? I've been telling her since she could walk. I've been telling her that I'm going to kick her down the stairs. And, like, she kind of believes it. And then she kind of thinks I'm kidding, but she'll bring it up sometimes. Like, I don't want you to kick me down the stairs, Daddy. And I'm like, I know.
It's not.
Don't worry, I won't. Yeah. Just make sure you do what you're supposed to. You know what I mean? Like, and so far it's been working.
I won't, as long as you.
Because you know what? Then the look works.
Yeah.
Then the look works, and that's all I need to work.
You know what I noticed about that? I mean, it's like. It does take in modern times.
You could just get farther away from the mic.
I don't know why. It's like I have to just go back.
Yeah.
A higher degree of intelligence to become a parent, not to become a parent, to parent effectively with consideration, with what is considered normal now, as opposed to 20 years ago or 30 years ago, or however far back. The expectation is a lot different on the parents and on the kids as well, and eventually. I think I understand the utility of the look. And the utility of the look is, oh yeah, thank you. And I've been coughing and clearing my throat for like half an hour.
I was like, he's probably thirsty.
It's probably an effect.
Water break. Good.
Mm.
The utility of punching people in the face.
Yeah, because oh my god, my voice sounds so different. The reason is it gets the point across a lot quicker. You don't have time. When I'm at home, sometimes like I'm talking to my wife, we'll be talking about a big problem, like money problems or whatever the problem is. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that it's like we have to resolve everything in 5-minute intervals because that's really all we get. I have 4 kids, man. And there's always shit happening. Somebody always needs me. There's always something. And then that's when they're little. But then, you know, like now I have a 20-year-old and he's gone. Mm-hmm. He takes care of his own tuition. He's buying his own car. He's already talking to me about like moving out. I'm like, slow down. Yeah. You know, make sure you get your degree first, all that stuff. The expectation is different. When I was a kid, it was like, get the hell out of here. And like that was basically the whole gist. Like when you get to 18, you gotta get the hell out of here so I can move on with my life, right?
Right. I heard them talking about that on the radio. Like how long do you let your kid stay? Like how long? Not even how long do you let your kid stay? I think it was both. Like how long do you stay at home, and like how long do you let your kids stay at home? And I'm like, I think if you get along. As long as they want. Like as long as they need. Right?
That's a great answer.
Like if you guys get along and there's no problem, if there's no problem, like you trusting them and them making their decisions and you not living their life for them, if you can make that detachment by a certain age and you guys have your proper space and your proper, you know, if you guys are both cool with it. Yeah. If you guys are both cool with it and you're in a situation where it's not a problem, it's not unhealthy for anyone involved, stay as long as you want.
I agree.
I think, because what is the rush if you're not married, if you don't have kids, like if you don't have anything else, why not stay?
I think like this, we protect the vulnerable, and it doesn't matter how old you are, but if you're vulnerable and I can protect you and I love you, then there's nothing wrong with it. And then hopefully maybe one day when I'm like 80 years old and I'm like shitting myself and I have dementia, maybe you'll fucking take care of me instead of putting me in a home. But that's not the way it works out, you know? Like,
that's how these motherfuckers come from other countries and start amassing wealth here.
Yeah.
Because they come in groups, they stay together.
Yeah.
As long as possible, they pool resources.
Fierce loyalty.
Yeah, they pool resources and they expand, and then they spread out, and they like, you know what I mean? Like they freaking come into like this little cluster, and then they look. Next thing you know, they have a block, and they have the freaking 2 blocks. Then all of a sudden they have a neighborhood. The police are treating them different. Like they have like their own thing set up.
Okay.
Yeah, like that's how people have migrated over here forever. And like that's how you stay strong as a family, you know, is staying together. It's not spreading apart. Like you thin the herd and then the herd falls apart.
But then there's an expectation to homogenize.
What the fuck does that mean?
Milk is pasteurized and homogenized. Mm-hmm. So like they boil it to kill all the pasteurized, and homogenized, they spin it in a centrifuge to make sure that the fat molecules and the water molecules are dispersed evenly. Otherwise, back in the day when the milkman would come and deliver the milk, on the top would be all this fatty cream, and on the bottom would be all this like yellow shit. And for you to drink it, you have to like shake it up. That's how fresh milk is. So they want to homogenize. You know, you come into this country and you have these values and you think you're going to stick together. But the expectation is, and this is not, it's not only like Americans are guilty of this. It's just that the American flavor is rugged individualism. And that is how you must assimilate. You got to learn English, apparently. And in order to assimilate and become what's considered not the other. You have to be a rugged individual and want to stand up for yourself. And the cost of that, the price of that is you lose the community. Wow, that was like a stream of conscious.
I was like, where are you going, bro? Stay with me.
Okay.
No, but I think you're right, and I think when you have those communities that don't homogenize, they stay like the cream. Like they don't need, like, that's different. That's what's different about the U.S. from other countries. Like if you go to Canada, you can't do that in Canada. You can't do that anywhere else. You have to, like, they're like primarily themselves. Like you have to be like them. I might be wrong, but they have like an extensive screening process. Like they don't just let anybody in their country.
Right.
It's way harder to get into Canada than it is to get into the U.S.
Which is crazy because they have this big long border.
Well, it's easy for U.S. people to get into Canada to visit, but for you to become like, and it's not even that easy. Like you can't even go into the Canada with like a criminal record or anything. They don't even want you like that. But you can go over there and visit, but to stay, like to become a Canadian citizen and migrate to fucking Canada or migrate, whatever, either way, it's really hard. Like you have to go through like a way more extensive process. Like it's credential based. No, what's the other word? It's based on your merit. It's merit based. It's not like the U.S. is. The U.S. isn't a merit based system. That's what they want to switch it to.
Yeah.
But it's not a merit based system.
The culture change is like people are not accepting the culture change.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
Where? In Canada?
No, here. Like they're trying to move to that system, merit based.
Yeah, merit based. So that people, like merit based is, what are you going to contribute to Canada? What are you bringing to Canada?
What value? Are you a scientist? Are you like, we don't need day workers here. We don't need any more day workers. Yeah, but when we need them, the flow. You're like, you're online.
They control the flow, bro. They control what they need and like that.
It's much easier to get into America.
Yeah, America, you just have to jump through the hoops.
But it's harder for some people. It's harder for some people to get over.
Because they're broke. If you have money, it's not that hard. I mean, it's you still have to jump through a lot of hoops, but it's easier because you can afford to pay the fees, and you can afford to pay people to help you do it and do all the steps for you. You can get a lawyer and does every fucking thing for you.
It's amazing.
Yeah, but if you don't have money, it's fucking hard. You have to do all that shit by yourself. And because the government has to help you, you're going to do it at their leisure. So you're going to wait 6 months here to do it. Then we're going to move you over here. You're going to wait here to do it. And you're in this facility and you're going to have to wait for this food and you're going to have to wait for this. You know what I mean? Like you're at the mercy of the government. Then you have kids in cages. Then because they don't know where you put. Look at the fucking flood of people that come in here. And there's no merit-based system. So there's no screening. It's just everybody can come in. You just have to go through this process and wait. And wait it out. Better than everybody else.
Yeah.
So that's why they want to fucking change. And you know what? I can be fucking wrong about so many details.
I think some of it is like, it's like buyer's remorse. Like, we believe in these values. So this is what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. We're going to let you have your community and go ahead and be by yourself and do what you got to do. And we're not going to be scared because we understand that we're in it together and we don't see you as a threat. And then, so you buy that. And then what you get is not, you understand what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think.
And you get some threats.
Right. So you get some threats from it and then you feel a little unsafe. Mm-hmm. And then you start thinking of the other. And you're like, oh, okay. You know why you guys are different? You know why we can't get along? You haven't homogenized, bro. You haven't become like one of us.
There's some of that. But there's just, I think the idea was always that this country's so big that you can just find your little corner. But the problem is everybody goes to like the same spots.
Yeah, we all
You know
kind
what
of
I mean? It's like Orlando.
Yeah. I mean,
you've ever been to Orlando, bro? Lately?
No,
bro.
Is it? It's gotta be just.
There's so many Puerto Ricans in Orlando and like that area. There's just so many. They came from after, especially like after the hurricane and stuff. Like they escaped the island and they just didn't go back. They don't have to. They're citizens. Like they can just stay.
Yeah,
and get a job. Oh, you know, like the 6 months that I've been over here, because I have no power and stuff like that, I found a job. I have a place. Like, why am I'm not gonna go back now?
So then now what's happened is it's a strange thing because they're Americans and they're the other.
Yeah. But now down there, it's already been the other. Like now everything else is the other down there. That's already they've homogenized that to them. The Cubans did that. Yeah, the Cubans did that already. That's that Florida is
that part of Florida is all Hispanic.
That part of Florida and like some surrounding areas, but there's also a lot of southern areas. Sure. Southern parts of Florida where it's not homogenized. It's homogenized the other way. Yeah. That shit is Hawaiianized. That's what that is, bro. It's fucking Gringo Central. They don't like nobody else. Fuck Florida, though. Florida's all right. I like Florida.
You like it? I heard it's crazy.
I like to visit.
Every crazy thing that happens in the United States.
I like to visit.
Like the craziest stuff.
Yeah, Florida, man. All you gotta do is look up Florida, man. Just Google Florida. Like, that's the Google thing right here. Let's go to Google, back to Google.
You ever live out there?
Yes. When I tried to escape the law.
Oh.
When I was having my problems. And I was on the run from the police. No, I wasn't on the run. I was waiting to be sentenced. And I had left. I was staying with my girlfriend at the time, and our relationship was like pretty much on the outs. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to Florida. I'm going to stay down there, and I'm just not going to go to jail. Okay. I was like, that was my thought, but the reality, like I said that, but the reality was that my cousin was the bail bondsman on it, so like he wasn't going to let me stay. Like, he was going to have to come get me. If not, I forfeited the bond, and that would have been money out of his pocket, $15,000. So it was like, nope. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't say anything. Like, this was literally never told anyone that I was going to not go to jail. This was my only thought process in my head. Was that I'm just going to stay in Florida, and I'm never going to come back. And then I was staying down there because my mom had bought a house. And I was staying down there, and I was just talking to my lawyer, and I just, once the date came, I had to go back. That's it. That sentence, and the rest was fucking.
I think you carried it out. You faced it.
Yeah.
Like a fucking man.
There was no running. Like, the idea, that was like I believe that was a safe space I created in my head. I operated and I proceeded as if I was going to jail, but in my head, I was going to jail. I was going to stay here in Florida with my mom. Nobody can come get me here. Like I had this nice, like 4-month, I think maybe 4 or 5 month time where otherwise, if I was up here, if I had stayed with my ex, it would have been a disaster, bro. I would have gotten really high, and I would have gotten really drunk to avoid emotionally dealing with the fact that, the anxiety of having to go to jail and not knowing what I was going to face, all of that unknown, and that I was facing prison time. Like, I was sentenced to prison. So if the plan didn't work out for drug court, like, I had to go to prison, so like I had this hanging over me, and going to Florida was the escape, and creating that facade or mirage, right? Is it a mirage? Yeah. Like a mirage in my head. I created this little world where I was just going to stay down here. Nobody was ever going to come get me. I'm going to stay here. I'm just going to live in Florida from now on. And that stuff in New Jersey, it's not real. It's not going to happen. I'm not going anywhere,
And how did you come to the realization?
Just talking to the lawyer, like, when are you coming back? Like, he kept pressing that the whole time. because I kept saying I don't know to him.
Okay.
Right. So like in my mind, even though in my mind I said I was never going back, I never told anyone that I wasn't going back. I just kept saying, I don't know when I'm coming back. Like keep delaying it. Like he's like, all right, listen, I can't delay it no more. This is the date, February 19th. That's the date.
When are you coming back?
Well, yeah, you have to show up that date, or then you are, then they're going to issue a warrant, and you become a fugitive, and that's going to jeopardize your status in drug court. And you might have to go, then you're going to go to prison.
And then it was like prison or drug court.
So then that was never an option.
Yeah.
But it was never an option. So it was just like, all right, I'll be back, sometime in January. I'll see, then it was just, all right, that's it. Time to
move on it.
Time to fess up. Then the anxiety kicked in. All the stuff I had been avoiding.
What was that like? Walking in, knowing.
Bro, let me tell you something. It didn't kick in. All right. Like the anxiety kicked in, but it didn't hit until I got back to Jersey. Still, I had that in my idea in Florida, except when I got the plane ticket. Now, did I get a plane ticket or did I drive back? Because I drove down. I don't remember if I drove back. I drove down with my dog. Me and my dog. And we got a rental. I packed up the trunk with all of my stuff. And I said goodbye to my ex at the time. Got in the car and just drove straight to Florida. I stopped once to take like a quick nap. And I made it in 19 hours to Florida with my dog.
Sick fuck.
Right? Yeah. 19 hours, bro. I made it to Florida. And,
Your dog was
just with
like,
my CDs. Yeah, I had my CDs, bro, and I just played, kept stopping at rest stops to pee, blazing on the way down.
Sounds amazing.
Bro,
it was great. You're going to Florida, it's going to be nice and warm. And
yeah.
And it sounds like the time of year, 4 months. It was like the 4 months when it was just starting to get cold over here. And you're going back to summertime.
Yeah. It was like the end of, I think, because, no, it was August.
Okay.
It was August because it was around my birthday that my gift was the I was so broke that I had to use a birthday gift to get the money to get the rental for the car. And because I wasn't working, I had like no prospect. That's what I'm saying. If I stayed there, I would have from all that time I would have devolved, or like I would have self-destructed, all the way down. I wouldn't have gone in with a strong backbone. I wouldn't have gone in I don't think I would have went in a positive way.
Right.
So that time out there, but then when I got back and
that's when
I went to core. Yeah, no, I went to core. I came back and I stayed with my ex again, like that girl. I stayed with her. I was like, I'm gonna just stay here until I get sentenced, and then I'll have a place to stay. You know what I'm saying? And I went in, and the funny thing is what? I went in and I had no plan of what I was gonna do when I got out. Right? There was no plan. I didn't know where I was gonna stay. I didn't know where I was gonna live. Nobody was up here. Right? My mom's in Florida. I think my brother was up here, but he just was like renting a room and shit. So there was no plan for afterwards. And there was no plan of where I was going. I didn't know anything. The only thing I knew is I was turning myself into sentencing. At sentencing, I was going to get taken into custody. I was going into the county jail, and I had to stay in the county jail until the bed opened up in a facility, in like a treatment facility, a drug treatment facility, long term.
Yeah.
So until the bed opened up at one of those places, I had to wait. And there was places all over the state. And they were going to make the decision on where they were going to place me. Right? And I ended up getting placed in Secaucus, New Jersey.
Oh, bro. Small world.
On County Road, bro.
Really?
Those facilities, those big facilities with the
that
fence?
Is? Oh,
I don't know what it is now, but that's what it was back then. And I was there for 6.5 months.
Oh, right. I know exactly what you're talking about. I think it's an old folks home now.
Well, listen, there's a tall building that I think is condemned. I don't think it's open now. That tall building used to be a state psychiatric prison, like a state psychiatric ward, right? And it was on this grounds. That's why those fences are there. That's why there's a security booth.
Couple of loonies in.
Yeah. Then they used to have a facility next door. I think all those facilities were housing for like staff and stuff, and offices. But then all those facilities on the left, and then if you go all the way in the back down, there's the juvenile center, Hudson County Juvenile facility. So there's like where they keep the juvies, like that's a juvie holding center in the bottom. But all those houses on the side, there was Impact. Is it called Impact? Damn, I can't think of the name. I think it started with an I. There was Turning Point, which was the facility that I was in. That was the
name
rehab.
of
Yeah, Turning Point. And then there was Cura, which is a Spanish one. There's one in Patterson here too.
Okay.
Right, a treatment facility, Cura. Man, I don't know. It wasn't Impact, man. I can't think of the name. But that's where we used to eat. There was another facility where we used to eat. So we stayed in a small facility called Turning Point, and it was it was like 5 people to a room. There were these big rooms, and there was all these like wooden furniture, and they just had cushions on them, like these wooden block. They were like big wooden blocks, and then they had cushions on the inside of them,
okay.
right, where you could sit. That would all sit up in like the common area, and then there were rooms. There was 1 room, 2 rooms, 3 rooms on this side, and then there was a hallway in the middle where there were offices for the counselors, and then on the other side there was another thing, and then that place had 4 rooms. So in that one, in the 4-room one, there was 4 people in each one of those, so that's 16 people. Then on the other side there was 3 rooms, but each of those 3 rooms had 5 people, so it was 15 people. So it was like 30 guys in this facility, right? And we all were drug court. We were all sentenced to prison and got out of prison by taking this program. We were all from different counties. There were Hudson County, Passaic County, Mercer County, Camden County.
Wow.
Trenton. Trenton is Mercer County.
They sent them all the way up here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There was all the counties, like Ocean County, another one. These were the counties, major counties, where a lot of drugs, a lot of dope heads, a lot of white dope heads, white dudes, dope heads, black and Spanish drug dealers. Okay, this is what was inside this room. This was what was together. Okay. These are the only people getting drug court. Were black and Spanish drug dealers that didn't want to go to prison, so they took drug court, and white drug users. But guess what? All the other drug dealers, we all did drugs. We all did drugs, which is how we got drug court. Okay. Because they piss test you, and then they tell you, you have to do an interview to be accepted. Are you a drug addict? Like, what's your problem with drugs? So I was saying that I was selling drugs to support my habit, my weed habit. I sold weed to support my weed habit. I went to drug court for weed, okay? Told them I did other drugs because I had tried other drugs, but my only vice was drinking and smoking
weed.
But I was in my 20s. I was 23 years old, right? 23 years old. And I just told them I was a drug addict. I didn't believe it. I was lying. Yeah. I was lying to stay out of prison.
Okay.
But then when I went to the program, my brother gave me advice and told me, if you want to beat them, do everything they tell you to do. It's the only way you're going to win.
Okay.
By doing that, I went in there and I did act like a drug addict, and I did everything they told me to do, and I played that fucking part, and I convinced myself that I was a drug addict and an alcoholic, and I proceeded with treating myself accordingly within their things. And I went through all of their stuff, all of the groups, this is what made me better in public speaking, was going through these groups and having to talk in front of people. As a kid, I've always been scared of like adults. I've always been scared of older white people. I've always been scared of like these groups. I was always like timid because remember, I told you I made a decision in my head that I wasn't good enough for any of that shit. So those people I always felt were more affluent than me, I've cowered away from. And I broke that in there, just talking to counselors, talking to people, having to talk about my feelings and being in uncomfortable situations. Like, I got used to it so I could do it. And I got a lot of stuff out of it. I did a lot of work. I did a lot of work on myself. And it made me, that's why I look back at that like it wasn't, if you can go back in time, what would you change? Like, I don't think I would change that, bro.
You would still be a junkie, so you could a fake junkie.
I would still be a fake junkie, bro.
Yourself.
I would still be a fake junkie.
That's
exactly.
Great. That's
just
amazing.
to get the perspective I have on myself, because I did so much work in there that I am able to reflect and internalize a lot of things.
Did you think you were addicted to weed?
Yes, bro. 1,000%. It's not.
And they thought you were too.
Yeah, it wasn't that I was addicted to the weed. It wasn't the drug. They told me I was the behavior that I was addressing. And the way that I used drugs and the way that I used alcohol not to cope.
Jesus, man.
You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy for me to think that.
I could have avoided a lifetime of abuse. Don't forget, my dad died of AIDS because he was a junkie. He was a heroin user. You know what I'm saying? So there is the possibility. Yeah, there is the possibility in my future that I could end up dying from drugs. I have so many friends. I just buried another friend from an overdose. One of my best friends in my whole life is dead from drugs. Like, I have another friend that's all fucked up because of drugs. I have another friend that just turned his life around from being fucked up with drugs, where he was on that path that he was going to die and he was going to fucking go to jail for drugs. And now he just turned his life around. He had to leave fucking New Jersey. Like, that's a real thing in my life. My uncles, like my whole family, that's my DNA. So I did not have a hard time convincing myself that I was a fucking drug addict, bro.
I guess I must be too.
I could not, bro. That was not hard at all. I was very comfortable with that. And that's another thing. I was able to deal with a lot of issues with my dad because my counselor told me to write to him like a letter. She said, well, just write him a letter, tell him all your feelings, everything that you ever wanted to say. Like, you can say that to him. Just write it out. And then we'll burn it. And that'll be the end of it. And I'm like, all right. So I wrote it and I never burned it. So I never really closed those feelings off. But I got over the anger. I didn't know I had anger towards my father. I was very angry, bro.
That's weird.
Very, very angry because I felt like he chose drugs over me. So me understanding addiction and having that education that I just 6 months of fucking college and fucking drug college of addiction, I understood my father more than anything in my whole life, more than any of the stories my family used to tell me. My family, my father was like a hero in my family. Or my brothers and sisters who that's not their dad, who raised them as their dad, they call him dad, and they talk to him like my whole family talks about him like a hero, like he was everybody's hero in my family. So when he died, like me being his only son, like I was like looked upon as like the next coming of him, especially because I looked just like him. I was like the next, so I had like that pressure on me, right? And I looked at it like he chose drugs over me. So when people would tell me stories about him, I was so resentful. I never wanted to hear stories about my dad. I never said dad growing up. Saying dad broke my heart. Father, watching other people with their dads do dad things, and fucking Father's Day and fucking Valentine's Day because that's his birthday. Like all those holidays, bro, growing up, they were triggers for me. And those were times I shut down because I was angry. And I was angry at the fact that I thought he chose drugs over me. Like, you loved me so much. Like, I was your pride and joy. Like, like everybody talks about how much you loved me and how proud you were of me, but not enough to stop doing drugs. I didn't understand that you couldn't. Like, it didn't matter, like, about all the other stuff.
That he still loved you.
Yes, it was just he had problems, bro. He was a broken man, too. He had the problems of his whole family on his back because even though he was the hero, everybody depended on him. And he had to carry the weight of the whole family on his back. Everybody's problems were his problems. My mom has that resentment towards the family. She's very, very good terms. Like, she's not angry at them, but I know she carries that. That's a healthy resentment to carry. Like, you look at them like they put this extra weight. It wasn't a fault. That's how you survive. We just finished talking about that. That's how you survive, is by family,
Right.
by holding together. Well, he was the rock. Everybody depended on him as for support, and he helped everybody, and he was able to move the family. So when he died, like, the family scattered. A lot of people went down because of that. But that was like resentment that I had, that I was carrying, and that I was able to deal with and get through. So, like, that's what I mean. Like,
it was 6 months of college about drugs.
The dark days.
Yeah.
This is life lessons. This is the cookie jar, right? The darkest days in your life are learning experiences. That's where you learn. That's where you get stronger. That's when you become better for the future. The shit you go through today make you better to either pass the information to other people or to strengthen your resolve to go through what y'all going to go through to help other. You know what I mean? Like, there's purpose in failure. There's purpose in adversity. There's purpose in all these things that I take for granted, because my perspective changes. Like, all the situations we talk about with work, with our personal lives, the things that we don't share because those are private things, but we share them on a private matter. Like, all those things are perspective problems, where if our perspective changes on the way that we handle them, the problem becomes different. The way we deal with them becomes different. The way we internalize them, our emotions, the shit that we carry, it all changes on how we think of things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
where the power is.
Whenever we talk, man, I always feel like it's so therapeutic for me, because you're like-minded, and also, like, you call me on my bullshit, man. Like, no lie. So you'll tell me, like, that's,
Well, because we got, like, you know why? Because I recognize the bullshit, right? The only reason I identify that bullshit is because I've used the same bullshit, and I don't like it in myself. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't let you go through that, because then you're in, like, your own delusion.
Right.
And I hope, like, when I'm in my own delusion, like, I try to call myself out on it, and I hope the people, like, I like to surround myself with people that do the same thing. And I like it in the form of a joke. Like, that's how I deliver it. That's my uncomfortable way of confrontation is jokes. By cracking. If I'm cracking on you, bro, it's because I have affection for you. If I don't crack on you, it's because I don't like, it's not even that I don't like you, it's that we haven't made that connection. For me, in order to make a joke about you, we have to have that connection. I don't joke on strangers. That's not your fucking, you don't get that, bro.
Okay.
That's for people who are in my inner circle. I get the jokes.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But that's the same thing. I get checked. My friends that I grew up with, they check you. And people check you. Like, it's good to have that in your inner circle, that you get checked and you don't operate in a delusion. Because if you have people around you that are going to support your delusions and allow you to go out with delusions, they're letting you be vulnerable. Those are vulnerabilities, bro. With the walls that we build around ourselves, the defenses that our body creates so that we don't have to feel comfortable. Those are vulnerabilities, bro.
Yeah.
Those are vulnerabilities, because they might keep things from getting in, but they prevent you from looking out and seeing some things that might be better. You know what I'm saying? So the walls can be vulnerabilities too when you put them up, because that's your initial reaction to not feel uncomfortable, right? You want to be comfortable, so you put these walls up to protect your comfort, not to protect you.
Comfort is the poison, man.
Comfort's the poison,
Every
bro.
time, like, I'm in pain, man, I always keep going back to it. I'm like, you know what it is? I'm too comfortable.
Bro, get out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
like
a comfort in a routine of shame.
That's a deep hole, bro.
Yeah.
Shame's a deep hole.
Fuck, man.
Especially, that's why I saw this thing on TikTok, this psychiatrist, a therapist, mentalist, I don't know what they're fucking called, some physical mind therapist, okay? One of those psychotherapist people that sit down and talk to people and help them. One of those mental therapist people, she posted this video on TikTok about earning your trust back. And a lot of that, getting over that shame, is setting up little things to keep your word about. Like, you tell yourself you're going to do something, like a small thing.
I don't even do that.
And you do
I tell people, That's why sometimes there's things you don't tell people, and then there's things that are uncomfortable, and then you say them anyway. And the reason for that is because the social contract will hold you to your fucking word. Hey, what happened to you? Didn't you say that you were gonna do this? Why didn't you you said you were gonna open up a new company in like a year? It's been like 2 years. What happened?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even in a bad way, but it's like a check on you. Like you're not fulfilling your social contract.
Yeah, and then they'll just be like, I didn't do it. I changed my mind. I don't want to do it anymore.
See, but then when I do that, I realize that's me being addicted to that routine of shame. Where it's like there's comfort in that because it validates my sometimes negative, often negative opinion of myself. And then it's funny because I have people around me and I'll joke around and I'll say things that I'm not really like that. I'm not, that confident, but I'll be like overconfident on purpose to be funny. And then I'm doing it on purpose to be funny, but then they'll call me like a narcissist because of it. And then that sort of hurts that they call me. It's so weird because it validates that I'm not a good person. But I don't know why I think that. I keep trying to go back and I keep trying to think, what did I ever do that was so bad that makes me think that I'm not a good person? Sometimes people will tell me, you're a good guy. Why are you doing this?
You did something, okay? You did something at one point in your life, not recently, very long time ago, and you made that decision. And you got to go back and track that.
Fuck, man.
You gotta find that. You need the landmark, bro. You need the landmark.
I'm 40 years old, bro. It's so far back. It's buried.
There's exercises, bro. There's exercises that they do that make you think of that, that bring you back to that point, because that's their whole thing. There's things that you know. There's things that you don't know. Then there's things that you don't know that you don't know. Those are your blind spots.
Okay.
Right? So you don't know that you don't know why you're like that. Like that's something that's unknown. Like there's things that you know that you don't know. Right? Like you don't know trigonometry. Right? You know that you don't know the fucking distance from the sun to the earth, like off the top of your head. So you can look that up and you can figure the problem out. But when you don't know that you don't know something, you can't even, how can you address a problem you don't even know that's a problem? So those are the blind spots. So that's the thing that they do. I feel like my fucking podcast for the last fucking few times has been pure advertisement for the Landmark Forum, but it was just such a powerful experience that they did. It was just, but but it's like $400 or $500 you got to shell out. So it's not something that's in everybody's fucking wheelhouse. And it's a weekend that you have to dedicate a full Friday, a full Saturday, a full Sunday, and then a Tuesday night. You got to do like a commencement ceremony that you do, and they have like a little party and shit, and then they haunt you for months until you finally tell them to go fuck themselves. They try to get you to come back and like do the upper classes. There's other stuff that you can do. You can go real fucking deep, and then they want to. That's why people think it's a cult. Yeah, because they want to upsell you. Yes, they want to upsell you, and then they come at you with the fucking language that they use. They have that language. They have these words. They have all these, and they have these tools. And then they dissect through your bullshit. So trying to make excuses, the easy excuses that you spit out to try to get away from people like that and push them off, they fucking cut right through that. And they come right to you, and they just want to get to the bare bones of your life. And then you just tell them to go fuck themselves. At least I did, like early. Because then they want you to volunteer, they want you to work there, they want you to end your life as you know it and just become Landmark and help spread that message. They really push that. So that's why it's culty. So it can get culty for some people. You get wrapped up in it. Next thing you know, you spent 4 or 5 years of your life wrapped up in this organization, and you fucking pop up on there and you're like, what the fuck? I gotta get back to normal. I gotta get back to life. Yeah. So like that's the one negative, and that's why I can see why people would call it culty. I don't think it's culty. They want to spread that message. We gotta go.
No, I'm like putting Landmark in my phone. So I'm just. I can join the cult once we're off.
I'm looking at the time.
Oh, you don't have time. Okay.
Yeah, we gotta wrap it up.
Wow, that was a good one.
Yeah, man.
Got anything you want to plug?
I have dates, bro. I gotta come. When I do the edit, I'll I'm gonna add them in the beginning so I can say some dates. This was a good conversation just because I think it's important as far as like perspective. Perspective is everything, and like the way you see things, and you can choose to deal with things negatively. That's why it's not good to be surrounded by negative people, because then you just have that negativity. That shit's, it's toxic. It's fucking, I don't know. We could just start talking about that shit. I could just go off, but no, man. Podcast is fun. How you like this? How you like this little setup?
I liked it. It was a couple times I noticed that I backed away from it.
Yeah, you got to keep the mic in your fucking mouth.
It's
like,
instinctive or something.
You got to blow the mic. I know. That's why I have it like where it's just like in my face.
This is
set it up.
This
like
is better.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't want to make it so that you have to be uncomfortable on it.
I stay here.
You want to set it up so we're like, all right. So if I'm gonna sit here, I'll sit like that.
Okay. And if I know I'm gonna back up a lot, then I gotta probably bring it a little bit closer.
Yeah, that's why I put it. See, I had put it on top of this cloth.
Okay.
And then I fucked up, and then it just kept sliding. So when you try to move it, like now it's has rubber grips that's on the wood now. So it's not going anywhere. So I can just move this and get on it, man. So we're going to be pumping out more episodes, more guests. A lot of fun stuff coming up. That's it.
That was really good.
Have fun.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.